Yeah. Yeah. Let me introduce you to Gengar. He'll make the enemy team surrender. The ladies think he's so hot because he can one-shot. You think he's not there? Then you die. He's so unfair. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to master Gengar. Wait, hold on. Gengar? Are you sure? Gengar? What are you, a psychopath? You know this Pokemon is sometimes utterly broken and unfair, right? Like, he can one-shot people, he can take out enemy teams all by himself, he can... Actually, you know what? I 100% understand. Hi trainers, I'm Teeds, this is Nuts, and welcome to my So You Want to Master guides. In this guide, I'll be teaching you everything about Gengar. I'll be making a guide like this for every single Pokemon. So feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified for that. I have everything timestamped for you because, let's be real, we do be skipping through videos for the parts we want. No, I'm not calling anyone out. I'm simply accepting that is who I am, and probably you too. I'll be going through abilities and hidden mechanics. There is a ton of info that the game does not tell you about the Pokemon's moves, combos, builds, counters, and tips. If you have any tips or anything you want to add about Gengar to help out our fellow trainers, please leave it in the comments down below. You can kind of treat this whole video and comment section as your guide for Gengar, but don't follow what Tom says. Tom always gives bad advice. Please don't listen to Tom. For the question of the day, which Pokemon do you want a guide for next? Let me know in the comments down below. Most Pokemon have two different movesets they use, different playstyles. One part of the video is going to be about one playstyle, the other one's going to be the other playstyle. Big shout out to Unite DB for all the precise information. Gengar's passive. It's basically a free float stone, increases your movement speed by 10% when out of combat for 5 seconds. This can help you rotate to objectives and lanes faster, as long as you don't go around damaging things like the little chaotic purple ball of doom that you are. Basic attack becomes a boosted attack every third attack. You lunge at enemy Pokemon and you deal more damage. It's really cool because generally your basic attack range is super short, but with the boosted attack, since it's a lunge, your range is increased. This makes it so good for enemies who are just out of your reach. You can also go through walls. You can also basic attack the air to get your boosted attack. Don't recommend doing it in public on the street because people will look at you weirdly. It's also good to note that from level 5, Gengar restores health when dealing any special attack damage. Let's get into your two starting moves. Will-O-Wisp. This move has a 5-second cooldown. You shoot 3 flames in a cone that deal damage to enemy Pokemon. It also burns targets who are hit for 2 seconds, but this isn't your typical burn. You know the one when you're cooking and your hand somehow touches the pan and you have to run it under cold water for 10 minutes, but you're impatient and stop it after like a minute? Oh no, this burn reduces your enemy's damage too by 10% for 4 seconds. A single enemy can be damaged by 2 flames. The third one will not take effect. The damage is halved if the target is burning. You can guarantee hit 2 flames the closer you are to the target. So the closer you are, the more likely they're going to get hit because, you know, the spread is more squished together. Next we have Lick. Lick has a 7-second cooldown, a straight line attack damaging enemies hit, pulls the target towards you. Your next basic attack is boosted. You can use Lick right after using a boosted basic attack to get another boosted basic attack. It's great for catching enemies running away as it gives you some crowd control. A good tip is to wait for targets to use their dashes or mobility and then use Lick to bring them back. Now for Gengar's Unite move. Wait, Teeds, what about Gengar's other moves? Well, Tom, to make it easier to follow, the way Pokemon work in Pokemon Unite is that most Pokemon have go-to movesets, and the Unite move is just additional. Gengar goes under the ground where enemies cannot see him. Reactivating your Unite move will have Gengar pop up and deal damage. This will also reduce their movement speed for 1.5 seconds. If you don't pop out within the time frame, you will automatically pop out after 7 seconds. Initially, going under does not deal any damage. Enemies will know you're close by because they have an aura above their head. Gengar gains 30% movement speed. Your next basic is boosted. You can use your moves while in your Unite move and still activate it to do the pop-up damage. This is so good because you can hit your moves without enemies being able to predict you. Your Unite move is perfect for ganking, catching the enemy off guard, hiding, and repositioning. So there are 2 movesets you can go into with Gengar, and both playstyles are totally different. The first one we have is probably the most popular one, and that is Sludge Bomb and Hex. Hex will be the first move you get from Lick at level 5, 7.5 second cooldown. Gengar teleports to his target location. This will damage any enemies in radius. This move pairs extremely well with status conditions, which are things like sleeps, burns, poisons, etc. If you hit an enemy affected by a status condition, and this can be from anyone, doesn't have to be just from you, the damage is doubled and the cooldown is reduced by 85%. The next basic attack is boosted, and this actually happens every time you use Hex, which is crazy good. This move does go through walls and it does heal you per hit. At level 11, upgraded Hex will deal even more damage. The move that you'll always want to pair Hex with is Sludge Bomb, which you will get from Will-O-Wisp at level 7. 8-second cooldown, Gengar throws a sludge to the target location. This will damage enemies and poison them for 5 seconds. This poison deals 1% of the target's max health per tick. This move does go through walls as well and it heals you per tick. At level 13, the area duration of this move is increased by 1 second, adding 2 additional ticks. The reason why you want to always pair Sludge and Hex together is because of the way Hex works with status conditions, and Sludge being a long-lasting status condition move. Like, these two moves were made for each other and I'm kinda jealous. I don't know a pair that's more perfect than Sludge Bomb and Hex. I'm just looking for the Hex to my Sludge Bomb. Dude, that was horrible. Remember that your Sludge Bomb and Will-O-Wisp apply status conditions to your targets. If you miss your target with Hex or you hit someone who does not have a status condition, your move will not reset and this does leave you very, very vulnerable. Remember that you get a boosted attack after every Hex. Alternatively, you can spam Hex without the boosted basic. I sometimes do this when I'm going into multiple targets to heal as much as I can. But if you want the most damage output, then you will have to use your boosted basics. For an early game combo, Will-O-Wisp, Hex, boosted basic, Hex, boosted basic, Hex, boosted basic. With this combo, you can Hex 4 times. For your main combo, Sludge Bomb, Hex, boosted basic, Hex, boosted basic, Hex, boosted basic. With this combo, you can Hex 6 times. Some people leave the last Hex, use it as an escape, because if you put that on cooldown, you can't use it as an escape since Hex is the only way you can escape things. So do keep that in mind if you want to leave your last Hex for like maybe a get out card. From level 5, you can pick up Dream Eater. 8-second cooldown, Gengar fires an orb in a straight line. This move can only hit one target. Target will fall asleep for 1 second. You can reactivate this move again within a time frame and you will teleport behind the target. This heals you and reduces your cooldown of your second chosen move by 2 seconds. Your next basic is boosted after using Dream Eater, both before and after teleporting. The really cool thing is if you KO an enemy player, this will reset the cooldown of Dream Eater. You don't have to KO the enemy with Dream Eater. You can actually just KO the enemy and it will reset Dream Eater. You cannot teleport to them from anywhere. They have to be in the radius, which you can see if you hold down Dream Eater after pressing it the first time. At level 11, you will have increased damage and healing. From level 7, you can pick up Shadowball, and Shadowball is also perfect for Dream Eater. Gengar throws a Shadowball in a line. This move damages and slows their movement speed by 90% for 1 second. This also reduces their special defense for 3 seconds. Shadowball will go through multiple wild Pokemon but can only hit one enemy player. This playstyle is super different from Hex and Sludge. Dream Eater and Shadowball is more of an assassin kind of playstyle. This moveset is also a lot harder. Shadowball and Dream Eater work extremely well together because Shadowball does a ton of damage. Dream Eater lowers the cooldown of Shadowball, which is already so short. This means you can get a ton of damage output very quickly with this move. Remember that you get a boosted basic attack before and after teleporting with Dream Eater. For the most damage output, you can try to get both boosted attacks in. Shadowball has such a short cooldown. I do recommend using it to poke enemies as well, even if you have no plans to go in. Remember, if you KO an enemy, it will reset Dream Eater. For an early game combo, Dream Eater, basic, Will-O-Wisp, teleport, basic, Will-O-Wisp. Your main combo, Dream Eater, Shadowball, basic, teleport, basic, Shadowball. There are multiple builds you can build on Gengar. What I prefer for items in full damage, wise glasses, choice specs, and special attack specs, all these items boost your damage. This is a stacking build with a special attack specs, so you will need to stack to maximize your damage output. For more survivability, you could go wise glasses, choice specs for the damage, and focus band for healing. Gengar's core items I would say are wise glasses and choice specs. You can change the third item depending on what you want in your build. Some players like using Shadowball for the cooldown reduction, damage, and health recovery. For held items, we have the eject button, can be paired up a lot with your moves such as surprise attacks and ganks. Full heal is also another option as Gengar struggles against crowd control moves. For emblem, I would focus on full greens for special attack and blacks for cooldown. Here is just a purely very quick example I put together from Unite GB. It's a bit hard to follow exact builds for emblems since no one has the same emblems, so try to work with what you have. Crowd control. Gengar can be easily countered with Pokemon who have any crowd control moves and effects. This can totally halt Gengar from Dream Eater teleporting, and it eats up the cooldown. It's horrible. It feels terrible. This can stop Gengar from using Hex as well. A way to counter this counter though is running full heal to get rid of the effects on you. Enemies using full heal also hard counter Gengar as full heal removes status conditions. Enemies can stop Dream Eater combos with full heal. Enemies can rid of Gengar's Sludge Bomb effect as well, breaking the Hex cooldown reset. Shields and Pokemon with a lot of health really counter Gengar. Gengar needs to go for very squishy, easy targets. When juggling, there are two ways. You can use your 2 basic attacks in base to get your boosted basic and lunge across the wall. However, in the new map, I personally like using Will-O-Wisp through the wall and then walking around. Why? Because in the old map, Lillipup used to run away from you and it would make it so hard to get there fast. But now, Startu runs towards you. You can use Lick to cancel the blue and red buffs attacks. So what I would do here is I usually hit them first, it will trigger their attack, and then use Lick to cancel it. Also remember that Lick gives you a boosted basic attack right away, so I try to use it right after using my boosted basic attack that I stacked already to get another one instantly after Lick. Bushes are your best friend. You want to try and catch enemies off guard. Remember that your boosted basic attack lunges towards the closest target. When running away, be careful you don't lunge back to the enemy player. Maybe no one does that because I do that so often. It's actually so embarrassing. Knowing when Dream Eater will execute is so important to get that cooldown reset. This is something you will learn over time as you play Gengar more. If you miss your moves or the combo gets countered, try to retreat and wait until your cooldowns are back up. Gengar can also be a sitting duck sometimes. It's very ability dependent. Use Shadowball to poke enemies, it does a ton of damage and it has such long range. You can also use Dream Eater as an escape as well. For example, you could put it on a wild Pokemon and then teleport to it when being chased by an enemy. Super important to reach level 7 as fast as possible for your power spikes. Gengar really cannot fall behind. Prioritize getting back ahead with scoring and farming. If you're going to fight a Pokemon with heavy crowd control, sometimes it's best to wait until they use their crowd control abilities. So hopefully one of your teammates can bait it out or something before you actually like hard commit going in, because remember, crowd control is just one of Gengar's biggest counters and it feels terrible when it happens. So it's a good way to counter that. A huge thank you to Unite DB for all the numbers and to one of my good pro player friends, Joe, for helping me out with this. Let me know in the comments down below which Pokemon you'd like to see a fast, simple, but in-depth guide for. Liking the video would super help me out. Thank you so much for watching, trainers. I worked super hard on this, so I hope it's okay and you like it and it's very informative, because I'm gonna try and help one player get better each time. That's a horrible saying. It sounded better in my head. I will work on that. Bye.